Hey guys, how's everyone? Welcome to Zaio's Open Day. My name is Asif. I am the CTO and Learning Manager at Zaio, right? First of all, thank you so much for being here today. And I usually do these sessions with Akil, but unfortunately he's not here with us today. So I'll be doing this session on my own. Um, all right, cool. So yeah, first, what I want to talk about is just some things that I'm going to cover in this open day event, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the different courses that we have at Zayo, right? And then we're going to talk about, um, what is taught in those courses, right? And also the deadlines for our coming up boot camps. But before I dive into that, right? There's going to be Q&A at the end as well, right? But before I dive into that, I just saw this really this news right today morning about a fintech company called it's called Klarna, right? And they apparently fired 700 software developers and employees to replace them with AI, right? Which is quite. We've been seeing that on Instagram, on Facebook, right? All our social media channels. But funny enough, this company is now actually hiring these 700 employees back because they figured out that their valuation they lost their valuation by almost $40 billion, right? Like the stock almost crashed, and that all happened because of the lack of humans in the company, right? So that is just like one case study we can look at where AI will not take over our jobs, right? We need to remember that AI is just a tool. It makes us better. It makes us more productive, right? But I don't think AI is here to take over our jobs. And the reason I'm bringing this to you, bringing this into this event is because there's a lot of talk going on social media that there's a lot that AI is going to take over my job, and we don't need software developers anymore, and things like that. And someone who's a software developer myself, and whoever thinks that AI is going to take over your job, right? I would recommend you to check out this thing called Cursor.ai and Windsurf.ai. And if you are a non-technical person, basically, if you don't know how to code, I would recommend you to actually go and try and build an app using Cursor and Windsurf and see how difficult it is to build. And it's almost impossible to build, even though you're typing in English, because you don't know how to read the errors, you won't be able to figure out the problems, and you still need to know that you still need to know how to learn. You still need to know how to code, right? You need to know how the backend works, how APIs work, all this kind of stuff. There is this new thing that's come out now. It's called Fullstack AI Engineer, which we are playing around with as well at Zayo as part of the curriculum. Not 100% confirmed, but a Fullstack AI Engineer is basically somebody who can use AI in building the apps. So meaning that you know how to use the AI tools and also know how to integrate like the LLMs like ChatGPT and OpenAI, Gemini into your applications, right? So for example, if you're building like, let's say, a bookkeeping SaaS, right? You need to know how to integrate these LLMs into your app. So Okay, think about this. Even if you are at an age where you think that AI is going to take over your jobs, that you can't be a good software developer, and what's the point of me learning software development? Why should I become a full stack developer, or why should I become a data scientist? Remember that if you think AI is going to take over your jobs, the best thing you can do is build the thing that will take over the job. So, for example, this is an age where you can build SaaS products. SaaS stands for software as a service. So, for an example, would be a finance SaaS AI, right? It's basically a full stack application, right? But what you're doing here is that you are now integrating like ChatGPT or I mean, sorry, OpenAI or Gemini, all these kind of models into your application to build this SaaS product, and then you can then sell it to companies or businesses to use that product, right? Um, a lot of people are doing that right now. They're building a lot of SaaS businesses based on AI. If you go onto Y Combinator's website, which is basically a startup school in the US, they're funding a lot of AI startups right now, right? AI companies, even though you've made zero revenue. So you can see where the demand is going, right? So if you think it's going to take over your job, build the agent or build the tool that's going to take over jobs. I mean, that's the only way you can stay ahead, right? So, but these are some insights I wanted to bring to you um, regarding software development and the AI field. But yeah, let's talk about the courses that we have at Zaio, right? So the courses that we have, right, is full stack web development, right? There's full stack web development, there's data science, and there's cybersecurity. And what let's just break those down into a bit more detail, what they are, and um, like like how much they are at Zayo, like what is offering, what you cover in those courses, right? So in the full stack web developer course, right, basically what you cover is full stack web development means building an application from scratch, right? Let's say it's your Facebook, for example. You're building the look and feel, and you're also building you're also building the back end of it, right? So for example, if I click the like button, what happens there, right? Like it's supposed to go and update the database and say, hey, you know what, Asif, just click like, update your database, and just like fill the information there and keep it there, right? So that's basically something what full stack web developer is. You build an application from scratch, which is the front end of it, the back end of it, and the database, right? So that's what you do in as a full stack web developer, right? And the reason it's web developer is because you're building applications for the web. So for example, YouTube is an application on the web. So whatever application you're accessing is all on the web. So that's basically what a full stack web developer does. The programming languages that you learn are HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's basically your web fundamentals. And after you learn your web fundamentals, you move on to the more advanced part of web development. You learn React.js for front end, Node.js for backend, right? And for any of you who are actually looking to become a full stack AI engineer, right, this is where you'd actually try exploring other things, because when you can also build, like you can also obviously OpenAI has like the API keys and their the APIs, right? And they basically you can use their APIs to call the LLM and add the prompt and things like that with Node.js, which is the backend framework we use at Zayo when we teach you. But a very common one that's used is Fast API, which is based on Python. But once you understand how backend works, how Node.js works, for you to then try and play around with Fast API is very simple, right? So at Zayo, what we do is we try and teach the fundamentals really nicely in such a way that if you go and learn something else, you'll pick it up very easily. And that's common across all programming languages, right? So if you've done Python, you can easily learn Java, you can easily learn JavaScript, etc. Right? So make sure you master your fundamentals. Okay, and let's move on to data science. So data science basically is there's there's various modules you can break it down to. There's data analytics, there's data pre-processing, there's machine learning. These are all different parts of data science. So we try and touch a lot of these in our courses, right? So for example, the programming languages that you will learn in data science is Python, right? And when it comes to data science, you can either visualize data. You learn how to visualize data. You learn how to to first collect the data, clean the data, visualize data, and at the end also try and build models or predict trends using machine learning, right? So when it comes to data science, that's what you'll be doing. And the programming language, like I said, you will be Python, and then after Python, you learn some SQL as well, right? Because imagine if you're working with data, it's most probably in databases, so you learn how to extract it from there, play around with it, clean it, and things like that. So you do Python, you do SQL, and we focus a lot, like almost 2 months, just on that. Because remember, you guys, like a lot of the people that come to Zaio have no coding experience, right? So even in full stack web development, when you are learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, those are the fundamentals. We focus a lot of time in there, and then because that has to be strong, right? Once your fundamentals are strong, then you can try and like learn the more difficult stuff. Yeah, so coming back to data science is the same thing. We spend a lot of time with Python and SQL just to make sure that your Python skills or your programming skills get really sharp, right? Because things do get a bit more difficult when you go down the advanced part of Python in data science, right? So the entire data science route is with Python, and you will cover NumPy, right, and Pandas, and these are basically two Python libraries which are very common in data science, and this is used to clean the data, right? So once data comes in, you just manipulate the data, clean it the way you want it to be, and then it's called data pre-processing. You process the data before you do anything with it, right? You use NumPy and Pandas for that, and then from there you learn visualizations where now that you have clean data, data has been pre-processed the way you want it to be. Maybe you want to use it for machine learning, or maybe you want to use it for visualization. Um, like that's like you can use that data now, right? So we then cover matplotlib and seaborn for visualization, right? And then we move on to the final section is which is machine learning, where we use that data to then predict trends and use that to make decisions and create some models or classify them um, into certain categories. So that's the part of the machine learning section. And when it comes to visualization, you use that data to like build bar graphs or visualize them in like a line graph and things like that. So there's a lot you can do there as well. Yeah, I think one thing that I missed out to talk about in the full stack one is the projects, right? And I'll talk about the project in full stack, and I'll talk about the projects in data science as well. So in the full stack course, the projects you work on are Netflix clone, Amazon clone. So you build like an e-commerce site just to get a feel of what how Amazon is using full stack web development, or how Amazon is using React.js or Node.js or SQL in in an app like this. Um, and then we also have like Amazon clone. We have Airbnb clone, right, where you learn how a company like Airbnb would use these technologies in their application, right? Like you need to understand all these multinational companies. These are all built in the same they're built with the same technologies, right? And if you just put your head down and try and learn the skill, you yourself can build this kind of applications, right? So yeah, moving on to data science. So in data science, there were quite a few projects you work on, right? One of my favorite is the Netflix recommendation system. Because when you watch Netflix, you always get that thing of, hey, this movie, you like this movie, or this movie is recommended for you. So in the course, we actually break down how Netflix actually does that using machine learning. So for each user, like how would you predict this person will like this kind of movie, right? So that's one of the yeah, that is basically one of the projects. The other project is a stock market analysis. So basically, you just look at the previous data of how a stock is performed and predict how well it's going to do. Right? Obviously, don't use this to make your investment decisions. A lot of finance companies use this kind of things in data analysis. So it's just like it's just like making it a tool way to help you make a decision, but like don't solely rely on that. Right? There's also other in-depth research that finance data analysts would do for them to like make a final decision, right? So yeah, that's that. And then there was one more project, if I'm not mistaken. It was Netflix. It was also, it was something to do with sports data. So it was just using sales data of a sports company, and then predicting which shoe or which kind of product will you then create next to sell to your customers. So these are different kinds of projects you do in the data science course, right? Um, and then the third one is cybersecurity, right? This is a course we just launched a few months ago. We're having our first cohort of cybersecurity coming in this June, end of June, right? And in the cybersecurity course, again, what we teach is ethical ways of like hacking like your Wi-Fi's and things like that, right? It's just, and we also teach you how to protect networks. So mainly the whole point is just learn how to protect like applications and how to do some penetration testing on applications, right? That's the whole goal of the cybersecurity course that we have, because that's the most easiest thing, and it's a very beginner friendly thing to dive into if you've never been in the cyber world before. So, and the first thing you learn in the cybersecurity course is you will learn Python again, right? Remember, all of these are like tech courses, so you do start off with Python. Like you have to learn programming first. There's nothing you can do without knowing how to code or how to write a program, right? So you start off with Python. After Python, you learn some operating systems. So Linux, Ubuntu. That's an operating system. You learn like the Windows operating system, because once you enter the field of I'm just seeing all these questions coming in. Yeah, once you enter the field of Linux as a cybersecurity specialist, you don't go back to Windows. That's that's like a given, right? You will see that once, like everything you'll be doing will be on a terminal, and yeah, so you learn operating systems, how to use them, how to make files, and things like that. And then after that, you cover there's operating systems, and you cover like introduction to cybersecurity and networks, basically what a network is, TCP/IP, HTTPS, ICP protocols. So you cover all of that, and after networks, you then learn about penetration testing, right? So basically, given a web app or a mobile app, like you try SQL injection, you learn SQL injection, HTML injection, different kinds of ways for you to break an application, and different ways of how to protect the application from such cyber attacks. These are very important when it comes to things like crypto apps like Binance or Luno, where they need to make sure that the apps are protected for people not to steal your crypto, right? This is the kind of things that you'll be learning, right? There's also a final project you work on where you actually break down an app. You do a full in-depth report on how, like, what are different vulnerabilities and threats the app can get, right? So once you have got that report, you then give ways of how to protect the application from these kind of threats. So that's basically what's taught in the cybersecurity course, right? Um, uh, yeah, I think I've been talking a lot. Maybe what I can do now is take some questions, right? But before I go down to the questions, I just want to talk about something very important, which is placements. A lot of the reasons why a lot of students come to Zaio is mainly because of the learning experience and the placements, right? With placements, what happens is that once you finish a bootcamp with us, right, we guarantee you an interview, right? What happens is we have a lot of hiring partners where we have partnerships with, and they're looking to hire either data scientists, cybersecurity junior analysts, or web developers, front end, back end, database architects. And we have these partnerships where we keep on getting requests for certain kind of developers that they want, and we're always like catering to the needs with the amount of students that we have, right? So an interview is guaranteed. We have quite a few students that have been placed in various companies, AI companies, cybersecurity companies, fintech companies, marketing companies, you name it. But for you to get that placement or that job, you obviously need to make sure that you complete your boot camp, right? You good at what you're doing, and then you leave the rest on us, right? Because we want to make sure you get the greatest learning experience, and we help you put your foot into the door of the job market, right? And even if you don't want to get into the job market, remember that there's various other ways you can use these skills to make money, to actually build a SaaS startup, right? Um, like I would really recommend you guys look into that avenue right now with the wave of AI, which is software as a service, right? And try building your own products, try building your own SaaS companies where other companies can use your product or your software, because the demand of software is going to go much more higher. Because with the AI tools that are out there, everybody will be able to be very efficient with coding, and they'll be able to build a lot more products that and take them out to market, right? So yeah, that's basically about Zaio, about our courses, about the placements, um, just some chats about how AI will not take over your job. But yeah, I think what I can do next is maybe call her Jot, who is our marketing person, right, to come join us here for some Q&A with you guys.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jot, how's it, man?
All good, all good. Awesome. I see some really good questions. And yeah, Asif, thanks a lot for those insights that you gave. Incredible insights that you gave about how AI is definitely not taking over developers. I completely agree with that. I've had a lot of people try to use all these AI tools to build software, and it doesn't work out. They'll face that one error and they'll be stuck for forever after that. Um, it's still a long way to go, and I feel like the developers, us developers and analysts, um, they still have to build tools around AI.
Yeah,
That's
I think
why.
one more thing I want to add here, which I forgot to mention, is the reason why you're seeing a lot of layoffs happening with Microsoft and Amazon right now. It's not because AI is taking over the jobs, right? It's so they use that as a reason, right? That's what I feel, and it's mainly because during the COVID time, they hired a lot of engineers, to meet the demands because everyone is online. Zoom made a lot of changes. Microsoft made a lot of changes in their products to adapt online learning. All the meetings are online, so they hired a lot of people, and I think the demand there was much more higher for these companies to. So they were just taking all the developers that were coming out, and now they're trying to lay them off because they don't need that many developers in the specific departments, right? But obviously, other companies still need those developers. So yes, there's these companies that they are laying off a lot of developers, but there are still other companies who are hiring them for their needs. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's something to be scared about.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just thinking about how AI is gonna help you deploy on AWS, with all those AWS services.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's gonna be a tricky one. Even if one does achieve to build a software using AI, you still have to maintain it. There's still improvements that need to happen. So there's quite a few things that need to happen. But we can always leverage AI for Zaio. I've heard that you've built something incredible for the learners. Maybe something you want to share?
Yeah, let me share my screen, right, and show you how we're actually using AI to like help students, right, in terms of learning, right? And this is solely to provide like a good support system to the students, right? And because a lot of our students to study during the nighttime, and some teachers aren't available during the nighttime, right? So this is basically a coding assistant that we have built. Um, and you can see over here, it already has some quick questions you can ask the AI. So this assistant has access to. So this is like an assignment that is on the Zaio platform that you have to do in HTML and CSS, right? And this assistant has access to all the three files, and it has access to the question. So it knows that this is a question, and this is where you're going to be writing your code, right? So you can see over here, it says, "Hey Ahmed, I'll be your AI tutor, guiding you through this challenge. I have full context of the question and access to your index.html, style.css, script.js files. I can also help you understand key concepts and suggest best practices. Feel free to ask me to try me out before reaching out to a tutor," right? Um, yeah, so let's try and let's pretend like I'm a student. I have seen this question and I don't know how to answer this question, right? So I'm going to say, how can I start this question or this challenge? What you can see here is that I'm just asking it knows what I'm referring to when I say this challenge, right? Okay, so you can see that it's given me you need to follow the provided HTML structure, right? And this is basically the challenge is asking me to create, a heading h1, give me the name, and give it an id name, and also put inside the right John Doe inside the h1 tag, right? So I can copy that and just be like, how do I do this, right? All right, to think it's telling me to create a heading level 1 element. You need with the text John Doe and assign it the ID name. You need to follow the steps. Use the following HTML code snippet to achieve this. I can just copy that and see what this does, right? Okay, let's close that, and you can see that it, like, I do have something here, right? And then if I make a mistake, let's say I do that and I close it with H2 and be like, hey, I will say, please check my code. Am I on the right track? So when you say please check my code, it knows what to check, right? It's basically what you've written over here. Okay, so you can see that it has picked up the problem. Your current code is on the right track, but you need the correct heading level for the name element and include the necessary CSS styling. Okay, it's looking at this as well, right? That's the second part of the question. But you can see that it's telling you change the closing tag of h1 element from h2 to h1. That's exactly the mistake that we made, right? And yeah, that's a small demo about how the AI assistant works. But you can ask it literally anything over here. You can ask you to check your code. If there's an error, you can ask it why you're facing that error, and various other things. So this is just in beta phase right now. You can see it's a beta version of our assistant, and we are trying to improve it. But I think this will help a lot of students at Zaio just trying to access support much more quicker than trying to wait for a response to come from someone, especially at the nighttime, right? So yeah, guys, that's a small demo about the assistant that we have built at Zaio. We're going to build various more other assistants that work with JavaScript, that work with Python, with SQL, and even data science editors. So I'm looking forward to see what we make there, and I'm looking forward to your feedback about our assistants.
Asif, I must say it's insane that how the AI is able to give you the feedback while you're coding. Um, like I wish I had this when we learned how to code. It would be so amazing. Like you stuck 12 o'clock midnight, and you don't know what to do. No tutor is online, but you have
Yeah.
someone to assist you. What a crazy concept! I must say it's a first of a kind in South Africa. I haven't seen any other institute do that yet. Yeah.
Yeah, so like we pride ourselves in innovation, right? We want to build the best learning experience, and you want to personalize learning experience to you, right? There's a lot more things that we have in our tech roadmap that we want to do to make sure the learning is as personal to you, and adapts to your learning style, to to the way your learning pace and things like that. But yeah, with time, I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah, exciting times coming forward. Cool. Let's jump into the first question by Lungisa. So she's like, Lungisa says, "Hey there, hope that you cover legal data analysts. Um, do we have any of that component in our course?
I think what we teach is very generic, right? So with that, you can go into any field. So if you're someone who's in the legal field, if your fundamentals are right, I think you should be able to like pick up something from either YouTube or just a small Udemy course that will take another 2 weeks just to add on to what we have done, if you want. And majority of the stuff will be about the legal stuff. It'll be nothing about actual data analytics, just the use cases. So I think. If you do our data science course, you should be able to dive into that kind of career.
Yeah, 100%. So we basically teach the foundations, and then you're able to keep up after that. I mean, it's a self-learning journey, and it never ends. Even
Yeah.
though you do a course for 6 months, you still have to keep on continue learning new skills and whatever field you go in. Even for web development, I believe if you go into the financial sector, you still have to learn things in
Yeah.
that sector. But we basically teach you how to learn. That's a concept that we
I
teach.
mean, to be like what George said, I'm not an accountant, right? I can never build a fintech app if I don't have knowledge about what book. Let's say I want to build a bookkeeping AI agent or a SaaS with a bookkeeping SaaS. I won't know how exactly it works because I'm not aware about the industry, you know. So whatever industry you are in, you if you have knowledge of the industry and you now bundle code and tech with it, you can actually do a lot.
Mm. 100%, man. I'm also seeing, I see two questions where the, they confused about whether web dev or cybersecurity, which one's better. So this one is from Ryan.
All right, cool. Oh, hey Ryan. Um, like I wouldn't say you should think of it like that. Which one is better, right? I think it all depends on what you want to do, what you have interest in, what makes you really excited. Because at the end of the day, once you go down a career path, you're going to be doing that for a really long time, right? So it's more about what excites you. And if you go on YouTube and watch some YouTube videos about what they each do, what you so basically on what your goals are, you should focus on that. So uh, I'm personally like more towards the website, web developer. So is Harjot. um, I wouldn't say cybersecurity is not needed. I think the requirements of cybersecurity analysts will go much more higher the more people start building their apps with AI agents, right? Remember that AI agents just spit out code, and obviously they don't have intelligence as a human. So a lot of the code will not be up to power as with security levels that are needed, right? So there'll be demand there as well. At the same time, there'll be demand to write this code, right? A lot more people will want to get into the tech space because now it's easier to write software, right? One developer can do jobs of two developers, right? Um, so a lot more companies will be willing to now enter the tech industry. One of the main reasons why companies don't enter the industry is because hiring software developers is expensive, right? If I want to build an application for my business, I have to hire a developer and pay him a lot of money, right? And that's just one person. Imagine you have to hire like five people now, for each part of the stack. A back engineer, a front engineer, a database analyst, a designer. It's very expensive. Now that it's getting cheaper, meaning with the help of AI, each developer can be more productive and do more work. Um, I think what's going to happen is a lot of companies will start getting into software and start building software. The demand's going to go high again, right? So this whole thing of, which one's better. I think it's what excites you, and in the long run, both of them will be there. Like whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's web development, they both can be very relevant even after 10, 20 years. I think.
Yeah, man. Go for your passion, people. Just go for your passion and be the best in that field.
Yeah.
You'll definitely succeed. The next question is, I want to know if your cybersecurity bootcamp curriculum does cover CompTIA A plus content as well. That's it.
Yeah. So with the cybersecurity course, right, it covers security plus, right? Not necessarily A plus content. Uh, for us, the main thing is not about the certification. the main thing for us is trying to get the main thing for us is trying to get you equipped with the skills that you need to get the job, right? So remember, once you have a good foundation, and once you start working in a company and you have 1 or 2 years of experience there, you're better than any person with certification. Experience talks more than certifications. So that's our core focus. The reason we have a Security Plus certification there is to attach something with the course. When you walk away, at least you're walking away with something.
Next question is by Tato. Can you please elaborate on the payment plans and maybe if there are any other options like bursary or anything for those that can't pay the course?
All right, cool. When it comes to payment plans, we have three main payment plans. We have upfront payment plan. All courses go for 29,950. So it's 29,950 29950. Okay, and so you either pay that whole amount upfront, right? Or you can pay that amount in two installments. Or we even have a financing partner. We don't necessarily have a bursary, but we have financing partners. One of the our most common one that a lot of students go with is Manati. And with Manati, what happens is you get like a study loan and you pay that loan over 12 months, or yeah, I think something like that. I mean, it depends on what deal you're able to secure with them, but I think the average is around 12 months, right? 8 to 12 months. So you paid off around along like in that period. But just remember, guys, even though this is more, it's like an investment for you, right? You invest like 30 grand right now, or you'll take a loan with Manati. Your job is to make sure you finish the course, right? And then once you start working, you'll start earning again, right? So even if you're earning 10 grand a month, or let's say 8 grand a month, you'll be able to cover whatever you spent or put in the course within like 3 or 4 months, right? So think of it like that. The main thing for you should be to just excel in what you're doing, right? And we'll try our level best to make sure that we help you to excel at what you're learning.
Yeah, just speak to our consultants. They'll be best at guiding you what would be the best payment plans and yeah, the best course as well. They're really good at it. Um, so Ryan mentioned, I saw that he wants to show this video to his parents. So just to his parents, yeah, give us a call and we'll help guide Ryan through the best right course and yeah, make sure he succeeds through his career.
Yeah, Ryan, just yeah, one more thing, Ryan. So if your parents want to speak to me, I am keen to chat to them as well. You can email me on my email address. It's asif@zaio.io, and we can set up a session with your parents.
Awesome. Cool. Do we have a cloud engineering course?
Not yet. All right, we're taking it step by step. So we're just doing full stack first, and then after that we jumped into data science. All right, it's doing pretty well. And then the next high demand course that we were getting a lot of requests on was cybersecurity. That's why we launched that. Slowly we'll get there, but for now it's just full stack data science and cybersecurity.
Cool. I've put up the email address on the screen, which is asif@zaya.io. Cool. The next question, let me just quickly go check that. Um, would like to ask, okay. So Teddy is, I believe, in the March cohort. Just joined the May bootcamp for May. I believe he's doing data science. And his question is, what would be the next logical progression after he completes the data science bootcamp? What's next to study in that field? Interesting question. Very interesting question.
So yeah, I think a lot of people end up in learning a lot of machine learning and neural networks. Okay, um, I think a very interesting thing to study after that is LLMs, which is large language models, and even RAG, something called retrieval augmented generation. Am I correct? So it stands for, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
So those two fields are very, very like that's. I mean, that's the whole basis on which, like, LLMs like OpenAI and Gemini, Grok are built on, right? It's like neural networks and like large language neural networks, and also like the whole RAG system. So that's a very interesting field. I feel that you can dive into after your data science bootcamp, but it can get very complicated. That's why what I would recommend you to do is just try get some experience in the field, try build some projects, try and work for some companies, maybe do some freelance work. I think that would actually make much more sense to do before you dive into more complicated things, because you need to know Python like out of your head. You have to
Yeah,
be really good. And it's not just basic Python. Python can go very deep, like really, really deep.
yeah. I mean, we do guarantee a job interview as soon as you graduate. So, in 6 months' time, 7 months' time, once you complete the course, um, you'll basically have some sort of like an internship or like a junior role that you'll be able to enter. So that's a nice way to get into the industry, understand what's there. What I would recommend is like go through the job experience and see what's actually happening, how data science is being applied. Um, and then select what you want to focus on and do a specialized course on that particular field, because data science is quite broad. There's multiple fields that you can specialize in. So yeah, work experience is definitely going to help you a lot in this one. Cool. There's Tando is saying very informative. Does the data science scope cover some neural networks?
Yes, it does. On the machine learning section of the course, there is some neural networks, just like introduction, right? But we go very in depth with exploratory data analysis, and also we go very in depth on visualization, and also we learn about some machine learning models. But yes, we do have a small section on neural networks just to give an intro.
Okay. After full stack web development, is the next logical step software engineering?
The next logical step is to build projects.
Yeah. Build
uh,
as many web apps as you can.
yeah, it's build as many projects as you want. I think don't get stuck in the loop of just learning, because then you don't get to apply your skills. At the end of the day, your skills are only useful if you can apply them, right? But I think in our full stack web development course, we cover some aspects of software engineering, which is OOP, called object oriented programming. It's not necessarily part of full stack, but we still do teach it, because I think it's every developer needs to know that. And we also teach data structures and algorithms, because a lot of companies use that for interviews. I don't know how it's working now with AI is in place, but I know that a lot of companies do use data structures and algorithms, especially corporates. They use the old method of interviews. So that is why uh, that's some part of software engineering. The only thing we don't teach of software engineering in that course is parallelism, right? Because that can get really complicated, and maybe you can learn that during your time while you are like you know while it's called concurrency and parallelism. You can learn that while you are like building your projects. So I think that's like your first 2 years of computer science done. So I think just focus on building projects.
Yeah, just get that experience. Even when you go for job interviews, if you're looking to get into a job, they'll most likely look at your portfolio and
Yeah.
not what certificates or what degrees, whatever you've done. I don't think, especially like even when we hiring, we don't really look at the degrees. We directly look at what you've done. What practical projects you've built. So focus more on that, and then when you get stuck, when you're building that project and you get stuck, learn on the go. You might want to enroll in a more advanced course, um, or go on YouTube. You can go and learn on YouTube as well. There are multiple ways that you can acquire that additional knowledge that you require to build that project. So yeah, definitely recommend you to go start by building projects. You will definitely learn way more than just the course material. Cool. Next question is, I've heard that in terms of the tech space, industry certificates are more important than degrees. Is this true? And may you please provide examples of industry certificates that one can look into?
Hey Pila, thanks for this question. Right, so this is actually very correct. So the things that a lot of companies look into are basically your experience and your ability to build of like build features and build products. That's the first thing. That's the most important thing. Like if we get you on board, how long are you going to start? How long is it going to take till you push you build your first feature on our product? Because majority of the time, what's going to happen is you're going to get into a company and you will not. It's not that you're going to build a project from scratch. They already have an app. They already have something, right? You're going to be building on top of that. So if you're someone who does not know how to build products, they have to now train you on that, which means they're going to be paying you a salary for 2 to 3 or 4 months, and that's really expensive for them. Okay, so you need to keep that in mind. So the first thing is experience and ability to build products. The second one is like the tech certifications. You're right. I think a really common one is AWS cloud, the cloud certificates of AWS, the Azure certifications of Microsoft, because especially let's say when it comes to machine learning, right? A lot of machine learning models are trained on the cloud. A lot of companies don't have that compute power in like in their own servers to like manage and train all those machine learning models. Uh, they don't have that much power to visualize large sets of data or process large sets of data. I'm talking about from the data science aspect. And when it comes to the full stack web development, they want to know that you know how to use things like EC2 on AWS. Are you able to deploy the backend on AWS? Are you able to use the S3 storage to store data on AWS, like store files and store um, all these kind of things? So I think like a lot of the AWS kind of things are quite important, right? And those are certificates which you look into. So it's AWS, Microsoft, GCP. Um, yeah, I think those.
Yeah, you can.
Comcast more towards cybersecurity, but I think when talking about industry certificates, the most important ones, which I think are necessary, are AWS and Microsoft.
Hmm. Yeah, for data science, we do provide the
Microsoft one, yeah.
Microsoft data fundamentals, and for cybersecurity, we provide the
CompTIA
CompTIA,
security.
yeah, Security Plus. And for the web development one, we do have our internal certification that we provide, plus the NQF Level 5
Yeah.
certificate
Yes,
also
level
comes
five.
with it.
Yeah.
So you will basically receive industry certificates as soon as you graduate from our programs, and complete all your projects, assignments, everything that's required, the prerequisites. Cool. Vicky has a question very similar. I believe after completion, one would get certified. Are your fees including certification and exams?
Yeah, so the fees include everything, right? What happens is if you're doing like a Microsoft or CompTIA certification, we'll give you a coupon towards the end of the course. So after you finish your capstone project, you'll get the coupon, um, which you can then go and book the exam wherever you want to write it, and you have 12 months to write the exam as well. You know, so whenever you're ready, you can go and just go and write the exam. Um, that will not stop you from getting a place like an interview from our side. For us, the main thing is we look at the work you've done on at Zaio and we say, okay, you know, this person is really good, or this person we can recommend this specific student to a company. So whether you get certification or not, right, doesn't affect you getting an interview through us, right? But you still have 12 months to do it. So whenever you feel free, you can go and like apply and put in your coupon and book your exam with either Microsoft or the CompTIA. I think it's Pearson View, if I'm not mistaken. It's the CompTIA one.
Cool. Then next question is, I want to start cybersecurity. Can tell. what to look forward to, and what to expect. That's amazing that you got into cybersecurity. First, congrats on that. Yeah, Sif, well, what can he look forward to and what can he expect?
All right, cool. Like I said, right, our the main goal in our cybersecurity course is to make you pen testers, penetration testers, right? Um, you can obviously like further your studies in learning about things like network security in much more depth, and but for us it's mainly about app security and mobile app web app security. So that's what you'll be learning. If you got into our cybersecurity course, if you want to go a bit more ahead, or because I know it starts all the way in June, what you can do is just try and learn Python. It'll make things a lot more easier for you. If you're already on the course and you've been selected and you've sorted out all your financing stuff, reach out to me. I can give you like a Python course to start off with. But obviously, you want to have access to tutors right now. You can at least start learning, because it'll give you it'll put you ahead of the class, and when you get to the class, you will know what exactly is being taught. So it's just like getting a head start. So yeah, you can look forward to that. And I told you about what to expect. I went through the entire course outline in this session. But yeah, if you want to start off and if you've got in, just reach out to me. Like my email address was here before. It's asif@zaio.io. I will give you a Python course in your Zaio dashboard, which you can then like start off with.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to pull out the application deadline for cybersecurity for those who are still interested in applying. So, application deadline is the 25th of June, 2025, for the cohort that starts on the 30th of June, 2025. So, the next question is
Joe, do you want to bring up the deadlines for full stack and data science as well?
okay, so I'll get that while we answer this question. Will you be doing your classes online only, or will you have some in-person courses? So maybe we can talk about the live classes and the online classes.
Yeah. So all our classes are online, right? So what will happen is there's a task you have to do on the Zayo platform that will be facilitated and or supplemented with online classes, live classes, which means that you will be doing some work on the platform and then coming to class, and we'll cover whatever you've done on the platform. We'll recap it. You'll be able to ask questions, and you usually have two live classes every week. Um, and yeah, that's how it is.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're trying to make sure that we accommodate for individuals who are already working and those who are in school, so that you are accommodated in these extra boot camps.
Yeah. So just to add to that, we have classes in the morning and at night.
Yeah, in the morning and at night. So you will make sure that you don't miss a class. And yeah, they are also recorded just in case you aren't able to make it. In terms of the deadlines for full stack and data science, it's actually in 5 days. So the application deadline is the 26th of May. So today is the 21st. You have 5 days to make sure that you apply for data science um, and full stack web development. And by the end of the year, you will become either a data scientist or a web developer. So make sure that you don't let this year go to waste and you achieve and complete a career skill that you've been wanting to learn. Cybersecurity is next month on the 25th of June. So those are the application deadlines. You can find these application deadlines and more information about the courses on our website as well, which is www.zaio.io. So the application deadlines are on the website, and you can directly apply from our website. You just have to click on the apply now button, and it will take you through the application form for applying. Um, so we have another question, which is, do we learn SQL, deep learning, and big data in the data science bootcamp? I can see Teddy is very excited for the data science.
All right, cool, Teddy. We definitely cover SQL. We go quite in depth with SQL. We have some intro to deep learning, right? Big data is not there, but I think you'll be able to pick that up very easily from a YouTube tutorial once you've covered the data science course.
Cool. Our criteria. What's our criteria to apply?
Yeah, so there's no any like actual criteria, right? Like you need to have this in metric, and the thing that we usually ask for is just for you to have a good laptop, a decent one, at least like a 4 to 8 GB RAM, Core i3 or Core i5, or either like a M1, M2 Mac, uh, and a good, very strong internet connection. Because when you're downloading dependencies for your code, those things can like take really long, and then you'll just be waiting there, waiting for the thing to download, and then it'll break halfway, something will go wrong. So I think have a strong internet connection and a decent laptop to do work on. And even if you have a bad laptop, if you're doing the full stack course or any of the courses, the first 2 months you should be able to deal with a bad laptop, because it's just Python, and a lot of the work is on our platform, so it's all on the web, and there's nothing that's very complicated there. But the moment now you start doing more deeper things, running things like Jupyter Notebook, or running things like React.js and Node.js on your laptop, those things can chow a lot of RAM and storage. So I think you need a decent laptop for those kind of things.
One of our first questions I actually missed is how easy, difficult is it for one to change into tech? Which I found very interesting. Very nice question.
Okay, look, I'll just be honest about this question, right? It is difficult. Okay. I mean, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? So it is very difficult, um, but it's not impossible. Uh, we've had students that have had no coding experience. We have this guy who's working at an AI company. He had, I think he studied some philosophy or something, right? So that's what, it's not impossible, and it's difficult though. But if you can make it through the first 4 months of the boot camp, then you are meant to be here, right? It's like you need to make sure that you you actually finish the course then, because no one, it's like it's really, it's making it through the first 4 months, especially after JavaScript if you're doing full stack, or if you're doing data science. I think if you make it through Python and SQL, you're pretty gonna, you're gonna make sure you're gonna make through the remaining stuff. But in if you make it through JavaScript, it means that you are meant to stay. And it's difficult, but it's you can get there if you put in the time and the energy and the effort. It's
Mm.
still definitely possible.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people who have come out from like admin jobs and like
Bartender jobs.
bartender and like someone from I remember there was a doctor who tried to apply to become a web developer, and they were able to achieve that, so it's definitely very possible. You can definitely switch your careers in this way, and there's no harm in having an additional skill in your bag. It's always a good thing, especially with the whole AI boom coming forward. I feel like you should have at least one technical
Yeah.
knowledge in your bag. Like the least you should do is web development. Like if you feel like data science and cybersecurity is not your thing, go learn web development. You never know, you might want to start your own business and you want to build your own website or your own system. It will definitely help you. I'm a web developer, self-taught web developer as well, but I'm in marketing, but it helps me a lot. It really helps me understand the entire marketing field. I'm able to do my job much better than
Even the
someone.
whole tracking thing, tracking leads and all that
Yes,
stuff.
yeah. I always end up going into the more technical sides of marketing, which improves the results eventually. So I definitely recommend that you go and have at least one technical skill in your CV. We're gonna take a few more questions before we end off. I see we are almost at the end of the open day session. Let's go to the next question, which is, can I use the NQF5 certificate to apply for a diploma NQF6 in relevant field at tertiary?
Okay, I mean, like we've been asked this question quite a few times, right? Remember that this NQFI certificate is basically a unit standard that we're doing. It's not an entire, it's not like a full blown like diploma kind of thing, right? It's more like a skills program, right? So you're getting credits for doing for mastering a certain skill, and in this skill is basically web development. That's what it will state on the certification, and this one is accredited by the MICT CETA, right? So you can't use this because it's not like a matric kind of certificate that you can use for tertiary education. So yeah, to answer that question, that's not possible from, because if we go down teaching, doing an entire certificate of NQF5, like a full like kind of diploma kind of thing, firstly that will take a lot of, it'll take very long, and we want to actually teach you skills that'll get you a job, right? We can teach you the entire national certificate diploma thing of MICT, and I promise you, you'll not land a job with that, right? So our job is to create job ready talent that can go and build features on day one. That's what we want to do, right? So based on that, the kind of certificate that we provide is not something that you will be able to then do further studies on.
Um, So we'll take the last question. But if you still have more questions, then you can head to www.zaio.io and you can sign up and you'll have a consultant call you. Or on the bottom right, you'll see a chat button. Click on the chat button and you'll have a consultant who will basically reach out to you and answer any questions that you may have. Um, they're well skilled. They will guide you through the right payment plans. They'll guide you through the right course for you in case you're confused between cybersecurity, web development, or data science. But yeah, make sure that you reach out if you still have more questions. Um, let's take the last question, which is what are the requirements you need to enter networking? I guess that wouldn't be a networking, maybe. I don't get that question.
I think they meant networking as a profession. Yeah.
Maybe network engineering. Z, maybe you want to expand on that question. Cool.
Any other questions?
No, but like, let's close off on this one question from Akifa from our team, which is which area in AI is most popular right now?
Uh, Agentic AI, I think.
Yeah, agentic AI, perhaps. Yeah, because a lot of companies are now look, the biggest companies are focusing on building those LLMs right now. Every country wants to produce their own LLM. Um, you'll have
Yeah,
what,
it's a race, like a race. I don't
a
know.
race
Yeah.
literally. Everyone's fighting to produce their own chat GPT. That's what is happening. And the best that you can wrap around those AI tools is building agents, you know, automating your sales flows, automating your customer support. It's a lot of automations that are happening right now. I've seen the use of this in multiple fields, multiple industries actually, in fintech, in healthcare. There's a lot of, yeah, I think a lot of agentic tools that are being set up. I do foresee way more use cases. Like, for example, in fintech, in finance, automating your trades that are happening, especially on those, for example, JP Morgan and, you know, your big trading institutes. They'd probably want to automate the fast trading setup that they have. In healthcare, there's multiple use cases. For example, detection of like I saw one agent that helps you basically detect whether you're sick or not. I don't know how they do it.
There's also this other agent that would scan, that would go through the scans of X-rays and tell you what
Yeah,
the problem was. You remember?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I saw that as well. So yeah, there's a lot of fields that it can go into, but I feel like it's automating all the manual tasks. That's where it's currently really, really assisting. Um, Plus, like for example, in customer support, the same questions are coming in. Um, you don't want to be answering the same question again and again. It's all part of automation, you know. Um, cool. Asif, anything else you want to add on?
Yeah, I think that's it from our side, right? I think we close off the live here. And thank you so much for joining, guys. You had amazing questions, and it really made us like think about a lot of things, and you know allowed us to expand on what we teach and why we teach it. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys in our boot camps.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Good
Bye.
night.